Hello dear students, how are you? So I am back again with my another video lecture on 9th chemistry chapter 1 matter in our surroundings. So before we move on, first tell me students how you people all are. I hope you all are doing good, right? Okay. So children, in my previous video lecture I discussed with you that matter on the basis of physical states, on the basis of physical properties, it exists in three states, and these three states are solid, liquid and gas, right? Then we also discussed about some important properties of the matter like rigidity, fluidity, compressibility, etc., etc. And in the later part of the lecture, I discussed with you the comparison of solid, liquid and gases on the basis of these properties, right? So children, let's move on further in this next video lecture. So, now we know that matter exists in three different physical states, solid, liquid and gas. And children, we also now know that why these states of matter are existing, because in them there is variation in their properties, in the characteristics of their particles. For example, in case of solid state, particles are closely packed because of strongest force of attraction and negligible spaces are existing, right? So children, some things are solid at room temperature, some are liquid and some are gases. So, can we change the physical state of a substance from one to another? Means, say for example, if a substance is solid at room temperature, can I convert it to liquid by any means? Or if a substance is existing as liquid at room temperature, can I convert it into a gas? Yes? Yes, we can convert the state of matter by two ways. And children, those two ways are that first by changing temperature and second one is by changing pressure. Now, by changing temperature, we means that we can change the physical state of a substance either by heating it or by cooling it. Similarly, we can also change the state of a substance by changing pressure. Changing pressure means either by compressing the substance, by applying the force on it, or by reducing the pressure on it. Is that children? So first we will see that how can we change the state of a particular substance, state of a matter by changing the temperature. But before we go into the detail of the topic, let's have a short discussion about temperature as a physical quantity. So children, regarding temperature, we have already learned in 7th standard in the chapter heat, and there we learned that temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a substance or a body. Means temperature only let us know that how much hot is the given body or how much cold is the given body. Okay? So students, SI unit of temperature is referred as Kelvin and it is denoted by the letter capital K. So always remember that we learned about the SI units in 6th standard. So for temperature, SI unit is Kelvin and it is denoted by the capital letter K. Another is common unit. Now common unit for temperature is degree Celsius. Degree Celsius and it is denoted by the symbolic notation degree with capital C. Children, there exists one more common unit for temperature and that is degree Fahrenheit, about which you learn in higher classes. Now, the two units of temperature, that is SI unit and common unit, they both are related to each other through this relation. That is, temperature on Kelvin scale is equals to temperature on degree Celsius scale plus 273. Means if we want to convert temperature on degree Celsius scale to Kelvin scale, then we have to add figure 273. And vice versa, true for conversion of temperature from Kelvin to degree Celsius. That if we want to convert any temperature on Kelvin scale to Celsius scale, then we have to subtract the value 273. The question comes, from where we obtained this figure of 273. So for the children, that on degree Celsius scale, the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius and the corresponding value on Kelvin scale is 273.15 Kelvin. But for our convenience, for easiness in solving numericals and conversions, we take this value after rounding off and we use the figure 273. Right, students? So let's see one example for each kind of conversion so that you will understand in a more better way. Say for example, I want to convert 25 degrees Celsius to Kelvin scale. So for doing this conversion, I will be adding 273 to the value of 25. And after addition, I will be getting 298 Kelvin. Means 25 degrees Celsius. This temperature value is equals to 298 on Kelvin scale. Right? One more. If we want to convert 373 Kelvin to Celsius, then I will subtract the figure 273 from this Kelvin scale value, and after subtraction, I will be getting 100 degrees Celsius. Right, children? So this temperature conversion rules between degrees Celsius and Kelvin is very important, because based upon this conversion, almost every year we get 1 or 2 questions in your exam in the form of numericals. So do practice them properly. Right, children? Now we will see that how can we change the state of matter by changing its temperature. So children, now we know that there exists a variation in the characteristics of particles of solid, liquid and gas. Means a substance is solid because forces of attraction between its particles are strongest and spaces are minimum. Okay. Another, a substance is gas at room temperature because forces of attraction are negligible and interparticle spaces are maximum. So students, if we can change the forces of attraction, the amount of spaces and the amount of movement which these particles in a given substance can perform, then for sure we can change the state of the matter. And same thing we do by changing the effect of temperature on a state of matter. So let's see what happens when we change the temperature of a substance. So students, a substance is existing in solid state at room temperature. Now, when we start increasing its temperature, means when we start heating it, then what happens? So children, when we start heating a solid, then its temperature will start rising, and this temperature will keep on rising for After that, after some time, after reaching to a particular temperature, the temperature of the substance becomes constant, and at that temperature, the solid will change into liquid. And that process of conversion of a solid to liquid upon heating is known as, that is, melting or fusion. That is known as melting or fusion, right? It means melting or fusion can be defined as the process of conversion of a solid into liquid upon heating is known as melting or fusion. And children, melting or fusion of a solid always takes place at a fixed temperature, and that temperature we call it as melting point of that particular solid. So for example, we know that melting point of ice is 0 degree Celsius. Means ice is a solid form of water, and when we start heating it over a flame, then at the temperature 0 degree Celsius, it will start converting into liquid form, that is water, and that's why 0 degree Celsius is referred as the melting point of ice. It means every solid has its characteristic melting point, and at that temperature only a solid substance will get converted into liquid upon heating. Right, students? Another thing, always remember that melting point of a substance, melting point of a solid is the measure of the strength of forces of attraction present between its particles. What I mean to say that? So for example, if I am taking three solids, say X, Y and Z. These are the three solids, and for X the melting point is 32, for Y it is 45, and for Z say it is 152 degree Celsius. So children, out of these three, the forces of attraction will be strongest in Z because its melting point is highest. So, higher the melting point of a solid, greater will be the forces of attraction. Right, children? So, based on this concept, sometimes we get application based questions in exam that you will be provided with three or more solid substances melting points, and question can be asked in alternative way. Arrange the substances in increasing order of their forces of attraction or decreasing order of strength of their forces of attraction. So there to remember that higher the melting point of the solid, greater will be the forces of attraction. Right, students? So when we heat a solid, at its melting point, it gets converted into liquid state, and this process we call it as a fusion. Now question comes that what exactly happens when we increase the temperature of a solid? Means why does it happen that on heating a solid it gets changed into liquid? So for that, in case of solid, as we already know that particles are strongly held together by forces of attraction, and between these particles spaces are negligible. So children, when we start heating solid, then these particles in a solid, they start vibrating more faster about their fixed positions, because in solid we know that particles, they cannot move freely. They can simply perform vibrations. So when we heat a solid, vibrations of these particles, it becomes more and more vigorous. And after some time, when they gain sufficient energy because of that heating, they overcome, they break off the forces of attraction present between them and they get converted into liquid state. Right, children? So here sometimes we get a question in the exam. Explain in detail what happens when we heat a solid. So when we heat a solid, when we increase its temperature, then the vibrations of the particles of the solid increases because their kinetic energy is also increasing. And after a while, they overcome the forces of attraction and they get changed into liquid state. And this process is known as melting or fusion. And melting or fusion always occur at a fixed temperature, and that temperature is known as the melting point of the solid. Right, children? Now let's see what happens when we heat a liquid. So students, when we heat a liquid, then it changes to gaseous form, and this process is known as boiling, or sometimes we also infer it as a vaporization. Okay? So upon heating a liquid, it changes into gas, and this process is known as a boiling. And students, like that of melting point, for a liquid, there also exists a fixed temperature at which liquid changes to its gaseous form. And that temperature is referred as boiling point of that particular liquid. Say for example, boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. It means when you start heating water, then its temperature will keep on rising till it reaches to 100 degrees Celsius. Upon reaching to 100 degrees Celsius, water will changes to steam. And we know that steam is the gaseous form of water. Right, children? So, when we heat a liquid, it changes to gas. Process is known as boiling or vaporization, and it always occurs at a fixed temperature called boiling point. And like melting point of solid, always remember students that boiling point of a liquid is also an indication of its strength of forces of attraction. Means higher the boiling point, more stronger will be the forces of attraction between the particles of a liquid. Right? Now children, when we heat a liquid, then we have already learned in previous of my lectures that in case of liquid, molecules are not so closely packed. They can perform movement within the liquid. Means they can change their positions within the liquid, and we say that they can slide over each other. Now what happens when we heat the liquid? Its temperature increases, means the kinetic energy of these particles increases, and because of that they overcome the forces of attraction present between them and they get changed into gases. And in gases we know that particles are quite free. They are far away from each other. Right? So when we heat a liquid, the kinetic energy of particles increases. They overcome the forces of attraction present between them and they get converted into gas, and the process is known as boiling or vaporization. Right, students? It means when we heat a solid, it changes to liquid. When we heat a liquid, it changes to gas. So in these two processes, what we are doing? We are increasing temperature of the substance. So by increasing temperature, we can convert solid into liquid and liquid into gas. Now, what will happen if we start decreasing the temperature of the substance? For example, what will happen if we start cooling a gas, because when we go for cooling, it means that we are going to lower down the temperature. So children, when we cool down a gas, then this gas forms liquid again, and the process is known as condensation. And the term is not new to you. You have already learned in 6th standard about condensation of water vapors into water. So children, what happens when we lower down the temperature of a gas? Then because of lowering of temperature, the kinetic energy of the particles decreases, they slows down and they lose energy, they slow down and they come closer to each other and they start attracting each other, and gradually they get converted into liquid. And children, this process is known as condensation. So we can also say that condensation is the reverse phenomenon of boiling. Right, students? In the similar manner, when you cool down a liquid, it will changes into solid state, and this process is known as freezing or solidification. Same thing will happen here when you start cooling down a liquid. Then temperature we are decreasing, so the kinetic energy of the particles of liquid also decreases. They lose energy, they slows down, they come closer to each other and they start attracting more strongly each other, and gradually they get converted into solid, in which their positions becomes fixed. They can simply perform vibrations, and the process is known as freezing or solidification. It means by decreasing temperature or by cooling, we can convert a gas into liquid, then a liquid into solid. Right, children? So that's all about for this particular video lecture, and in this I discussed with you basically one key topic, that how can we change the temperature of a state of matter, and by changing that state of matter temperature we can convert its state. So do remember the phenomenon names, that is melting, then boiling, and in reverse cycle condensation, finally solidification. So that's all. Take care. Goodbye.